Hey guys, what's up? It's me, Thomas. Today we're back here with the kill count. Tonight we're checking out the 1932 Mummy. So yeah, this is basically the Mummy before the Brendan Fraser stuff, you know? Classic Universal monster movies, so let's check it out, huh? Be sure to like, subscribe for more. Hope you enjoy. Let's go!
Welcome to the Kill Count, where we
Nice
tally up
rapping.
the victims in all our favorite horror movies and show you how they were made. I'm James H.
Hey, James,
and
how you
today we're
doing?
looking at The Mummy,
Mummy from
classic
1932.
Universal monster picture from 1932. We've already covered Dracula and Frankenstein, both of which were released by
And the
Universal
Wolfman,
in
don't forget that.
1931, very successfully. The Mummy was next in line, coming out about a year after Frankenstein, and continuing the Universal Monsters franchise, which would go on to see a pantheon of icons and tons of crossover films between them. But missing amongst all those monster
took a minute.
mashes was the Mummy, the only monster, besides the latecomer Gilman, who never hung out with the other guys. Maybe it's because his movie ain't that great. I love the classics,
Oh, really?
especially
Not bad, huh?
Frankenstein and my boy the Invisible Man, but the Mummy's gotta be the one that holds up the least. Like, Dracula feels its age too, but it's still engaging and exciting. The Mummy is a slog to get through. It looks old, it feels old, the characters are old, this thing is nearly crumbling apart. It's one dusty-ass movie, but it does have occasionally creepy moments and a cool character for the canon, the High Priest Imoteph, who walks around this movie disguised as a guy named Ardith Bay. He's played by Frankenstein himself, Boris Karloff, who gets to be commanding and electric,
Nice.
as opposed to Frank, who is more non-verbal and confused, and also electric, but in a different way. As cool as he is, Imhotep never showed up again in any sequels. Universal did make more Mummy movies, but all five
And
of
the
them,
two.
including the Abbott and Costello crossover, focused on a mummy named Charis, who provided the more stereotypical depiction of the bandaged, shambling mummy. That ain't Imhotep's game. Of course, the character would be featured in
hi.
the 1999 remake played by Billy Zane. Nope, Arnold Vosloo. Common mistake. While I won't be looking at the Charis
Okay.
films right now, I will be covering the 99 movie next. Because even if it's not fully horror, it is still adjacent and also one of the best adventure movies ever made. Can't wait. But in the meantime, let's learn some ancient history and see... Oh no, the mummy's curse. It's calling me back.
Counter! You've escaped our attention for far too long, but we see you now, meddling with affairs of man, making light of violence and kills.
Oh, no, I...
But now we will drag you back to the underworld where you belong. We will rain
do?
plague and pestilence down upon you and
Chelsea.
break your new mortal form.
You think I'm afraid of your plagues? We're in the 21st century now, bitches. And I have the power of today's sponsor, ZocDoc.
Doc.
We do not know this word.
Oh, well, let me fill you in. ZocDoc is a free app and website where you can search and compare high-quality in-network doctors and click to instantly book an appointment, which means I can use it to get the healthcare I need to stay healthy and fit.
We do not fear the efforts of some human healer.
Well, who says it's just one? ZocDoc
True.
lets me filter from their over 100,000 doctors based on their specialty, distance, and rating. So
Yeah, good luck
I can
with
put together
100,000.
a full team of healthcare providers.
Then we will simply smite you down before you have the chance.
I mean, I
How long does
wouldn't
that take?
count on that, because with ZocDoc,
You
you
get
can
same
choose
day,
from
though.
actual appointment openings and choose a time slot that works, often within 24 to 72 hours of booking.
We see we've been outdone. But know this, Counter. You have only delayed your doom. We shall see you return to our halls.
Stop putting off those
Well, let's
doctor's
see about that.
appointments and go to ZocDoc.com/deadmeat to find and instantly book a top-rated doctor today. That's ZocDoc.com/deadmeat. ZocDoc.com/deadmeat. How many kills is this
Let's go.
classic keeping under wraps? Let's find
I don't
out
know.
and uncover them.
Yep, let's check it out. Got nothing else.
The movie begins by describing the legendary scroll of thought. What?
Thoth.
It's 1921, and British archaeologist
Goddess
Sir
of
Joseph
wisdom in,
Whymper was
God of
digging
wisdom
in
in
Egypt,
ancient
and
Egypt.
putting together the lamest fucking puzzle ever. He's joined by his dandy assistant Ralph and his colleague Dr. Muller, a wise and kind of touchy expert about Egypt. He respects their
Yeah, careful with that.
customs and beliefs, whereas Sir Joseph's a simp for science.
Our job is to increase the sum of human knowledge of the past, not to satisfy our own curiosity.
I love movies that discuss the philosophy of science. They realized something funny about the mummy they dug up, the Egyptian high priest Imhotep.
Never saw a mummy like that.
Never seen a mummy
Mummy
like this man before.
before.
That's because dude's got guts. Literally. He wasn't prepared like a mummy should be. He was buried alive. Must have lost match to the Undertaker. They realized he was probably executed for sacrilege.
Maybe he got too gay with the Vestal Virgins in the temple.
Oh, and being like super gay. Imhotep only looks like a bandaged mummy for a few short minutes, so it's wild that they spent 8 hours applying the effect. It was done by Jack Pierce, the legendary makeup artist who had already worked with Boris Karloff doing Frankenstein's effects. He'd go on to do plenty of other iconic looks, but he always considered the mummy his favorite. He used Fuller's Earth, beauty clay, cotton, spirit gum, and 150 feet of linen bandages, which were burned and treated to look old. By the end of the process, Karloff's face was so hardened he couldn't speak.
He must have teared up through this whole process. Had to hold his breath as well, I'm sure.
They also didn't account for bathroom needs, so Karloff had to just hold it in for the entire shoot day.
Yikes.
Removing it took 2 extremely painful hours. Karloff later called it the most trying ordeal he ever endured. Imhotep was buried along—
I mean, considering you couldn't breathe and couldn't, well, basically pee for 2 hours? Yikes, that's torture. I mean, heck, I heard you can get like a cold, like really bad bladder infection from holding it in long enough, and I'm pretty sure, I think it would have been like asking like, okay, we're about to start the process, you're not going to be able to go to the bathroom afterwards, do you need to go? Or do you need to get a drink before we start? Just let me know when you're ready. If so, any incidents are on you. I mean, that's basically what I would have done if I was Jack Pierce, but still, yeesh, poor Karloff. Anyway, next.
Alongside a golden casket with a warning on it. Anyone who opens it will receive death and eternal punishment in the name of Amun-Ra, the King of the Gods!
They open
What's
it.
inside?
Muller's
Don't
fucking
touch it.
idiots, can't you read? But Wemple and Ralph are like that Eric guy in the Evil Dead remake. They just want to be cursed. Wemple tells Ralph he'll distract Muller, and while the unks are outside, Ralph lifts that lid like you were raiding the Lost Ark. Damn, dude, not scared of like acid gas or nothing? Inside, he finds the Scroll of Thoth, which contains a spell that can raise the dead, as Isis did with her husband Osiris. The Scroll of Thoth is fictional, but was somewhat inspired by the Book of Thoth and the Egyptian Book of the Dead.
The Book of the Dead.
Hey, wait till next week, you two incredibly attractive people. You two wait.
Cowboy.
Ralph gets to work translating the symbols. Hope it's not a crummy ad for Ovaltine. He doesn't realize that behind him, Imhotep is waking up from his little dirt nap in one of my favorite moments. It's legit creepy, with Ralph's quiet recitation on the fuzzy soundtrack while Imhotep slowly comes to life. But then things get dated as hell with Ralph's Tex Avery scream and subsequent Mentee B that leaves him howling like a lunatic. Jesus, dude.
Yep.
Dial it back a bit.
Are you
Wemple
Joker
comes back
now?
to find Ralph cackling. Oh, man, he's probably gonna have to hear him hiccup all day too. Also, their mummy's gone, and you know what they say, no mummy, mo problems. Ralph says the mummy got up and walked away, but Wemple the skeptic assumes it was stolen. He doesn't have to discipline Ralph for losing it though, because he laughs his ass into an off-screen early grave. Yep, that's a wrap on Ralph. Unlike Dracula and
Ralph.
Frankenstein, the mummy wasn't based on a book. Instead, the idea came from Carl Laemmle Jr., who was basically the Kevin Feige of the Universal monster movies. Laemmle was inspired by the 1922 discovery of King Tut's tomb by British archaeologists. The rumor of a curse sprung up when the dig's benefactor died from an insect bite at the tomb. By 1930, 14 deaths were supposedly tied to the dig, and public interest was at an all-time high. Laemmle figured the fad would make for a perfect monster movie starring Universal's top horror star, Karloff the Uncanny. We time jump 11 years to the movie's present.
Yeah, that's not good. I'd be a little worried there. Like, oh boy, I mean, laugh yourself to death. I'm surprised that didn't happen to the Joker. Just saying. Eesh. Anyway, so, current time, let's see how many's hanging in there.
1932. Sir Joseph's son Frank is leading another
Frank.
Egyptian dig because the British, they just can't fucking help themselves.
They love the mummies.
His team hasn't found anything, and it's almost the end of the dig. So thankfully help arrives in the form of... Wait, I'm sorry. That is clearly 2 children underneath a robe. This Fez enthusiast introduces himself as Ardith Bey, an Egyptian historian. In actuality, it's Imhotep, the mummy from the beginning. He's taken the past decade to unwind and really reinvent himself, you know? His pseudonym's an anagram for Death by Ra, Ra being the ancient Egyptian god of the sun. Kind of an Alucard situation we've got
Pretty
going
much.
on here. For the Ardith Bey look, the makeup team created wrinkles using either cotton strips or dried spirit gum. It's unclear. Ardith has some unbelievable news for Wemple Jr. He's found the lost tomb of Princess Anxinamu, who, totally wasn't his girlfriend or anything. Seriously, she's like, it was, not at all. Come on, stop. Still, he'll lead them there so they can dig her up.
We Egyptians are not permitted to dig up our ancient dead. Only foreign museums.
Oh, he said that with spite. Not surprising, since the British Museum is a bit controversial when it comes to artifacts from other nations, like the Rosetta Stone, especially since a lot of it was acquired like this. Those slaves' backs gonna be howling in the morning. Thanks to all that forced labor, they uncover the princess's tomb. They send its contents, including the princess's mummified body, to a museum in Cairo. Oh wow, they actually kept the artifacts in Egypt?
I think it's a dirty trick, this Cairo museum keeping everything we found.
That was the contract.
Oh, okay, there it is. You know they wanted to take that mummy back to London, no matter what Daddy Whemple says.
The British Museum works for the cause of science, not for loot.
See, the movie couldn't even say that without blinking. John Whemple has joined his son in Cairo to oversee things, even though he couldn't oversee a mummy without losing it. Speaking of which, Ardith Bay swings by to visit the artifacts. He's why they found them after all, so they let him into the museum after hours. He sets up next to the princess's sarcophagus to bring his lover back using the Scroll of Thoth, which will also give her an OnlyFans, maybe? Oh shit, dude, be careful with that open flame. Both the parchment and your dry-ass mummy skin about to light up like a Duraflame log.
Yeah.
Until it does, though, he'll keep saying his lover's name. That's bad news for the nearby socialite Helen Grosvenor. She's heavy with ennui over the modern British lifestyle in Cairo and nostalgic for the ancient Egypt of the pyramids. She's at a fancy gala with Dr. Muller when a strange feeling overcomes her, thanks to Imotep's mummy magic.
Imoteph.
Yes, that's your name. Very good, Imoteph. Helen's put into a trance that lasts all the way through the coat check and ordering herself an Uber? Damn, dude, what's the duration on that spell? It persists as the car takes her to the Cairo Museum. She feebly tries to get inside before feebly fainting on the stoop. Luckily, Frank Whemple's there to scoop-a-doop her up and take her back to his and his daddy's place. Oh wow, this is exactly why they have fainting couches. Helen's a real sleepy-time chatterbox, repeating Imotep's name and babbling in ancient Egyptian.
Not heard on this earth for 2,000 years.
Then how'd you recognize it, dude? Muller and Joseph convene in his office, leaving Frank to look after Helen. When she comes to, he fills her in on what happened and learns that she's half Egyptian. We already found that out earlier, because we ordered her exposition as an appetizer.
Her father's governor of the Sudan, English of course. Her mother Egyptian.
After Carl Laemmle decided to make a mummy movie, he needed somebody to write it. An initial treatment was done by Nina Wilcox Putnam and Richard Shayer. Called Cagliostro, it involved a magician who lived for centuries. Screenwriter John Balderston adapted it, and presto changeo, made the magician a mummy. He named him Imotep, after the real-life 3rd Dynasty Egyptian, a chancellor and high priest who lived almost 5,000 years ago and was later deified. Balderston had written the American stage adaptation of Dracula, which became the basis for the film version in 1931. He took a lot of that story's elements for the mummy, and I mean a lot. They both feature an undead antagonist yearning for a romantic partner they feel is meant for them. In Dracula, a cross keeps the vampire at bay. In The Mummy, an amulet of Isis does the trick. Both romantic interests have a young, modern suitor. John Harker and Frank Whemple, both of them played by David Manners. And Edward Van Sloan plays the same kind of elderly expert in both. Dr. Muller here and Van Helsing in Dracula. And bonus, his character in Frankenstein was the same kind of dude too. Frank starts hitting on Helen and bragging that he's the one who found the princess's tomb.
When we came to handle all her clothes and her jewels and her toilet things.
Damn, talking about her toilet things and how he stripped the bandages off of her? Helen's kind of disgusted, but he has a good defense.
Science, you know.
He also says he fell in love with the princess's dusty ass. Her?
Creepy?
Egg Sinamun? Then he says Helen reminds him of that 3,000-year-old corpse. Shouldn't this dude have a Union Jack instead of a giant red flag?
Yeah,
Frank
no
continues to shoot his shot.
Yeah, I'll be a little worried. Like, you're not gonna make me into a mummy, are you? Like, if someone had told me that, I would be like, you're gonna plan to turn me into a mummy, aren't you? I'd be running for the hills after that. Anyway.
In the weirdest way imaginable, as Joseph and Muller are called to the museum. Earlier, a night guard had come across Imotep. Now the night guard is dead, apparently of shock. But his body isn't the only thing Imotep left behind. He accidentally dropped a scroll of Thoth, too? Really, man? Probably should have held onto that thing a little tighter. Back at the house, Frank and Helen are turning up the heat. She's laying back and ready for pillow talk. I love old movies made before the Hays Code. They get away with a level of horniness that would not fly after 1934.
Don't you think I've had enough excitement for one evening without the additional thrill of a strange man making love to me?
The two are matching each other's freak on the couch when Joseph and Muller return home. Wow, no reaction shot of them being walked in on, though? They're just all of a sudden standing there like nothing ever happened. The men leave Helen to rest, not knowing that Imotep has just arrived at the house. He gains access by using his mummy mind control powers on the Whemple servant, a character only called the Nubian. And don't ask what that is, the guy from Mallrats will shoot your ass. Helen wakes up to a strange man staring at her. but it's okay. She's positively entranced. The two feel as though they've met before. They end up in a sexist staring contest until Muller and the Wempels interrupt. They try to snuff out the fledgling romance by getting Helen to leave.
Then Ardeth Bay au revoir. We must see each other again.
But she'll be back. She'll be back. Everyone drops the Ardeth Bay shenanigans when Muller takes out a picture and is all like, "This you?" Imotep demands Muller return the Scroll of Thoth to him, saying if he doesn't, he'll be cursed, like Nathan Fielder. Muller says that ain't happening, and that he'd love to kick Imotep's papery ass.
But your power is too strong.
But he can't, I guess. I love a villain whose powers are told to us rather than shown. But we do get to see some of his powers soon enough, after Muller says they need to burn the Scroll of Thoth. Wempel gives a curt and angled response.
Don't do it.
It's true. It's true.
From afar, Imotep watches Wempel through his little wishing well. Oh damn, that thing's got multiple camera angles too. Joseph tries to burn the scroll in his fireplace, but Imotep puts a stop to it by giving the guy a heart attack. Guess it's
Bye,
over
Joseph.
for that plan. To cover his tracks, his man on the inside swipes the scroll and leaves a burnt newspaper in its place. The Nubian was played by Noble Johnson, a black actor who was also in King Kong right after this. Johnson began acting in the silent era and kept working when sound came around, a transition that not every actor was able to make. He was also president and co-founder of the Lincoln Motion Picture Company, a studio that made movies for black audiences that portrayed black characters as real people instead of caricatures. Frank grieves over his father, but refuses to believe that Ardeth Bay is a mummy. I mean, come on, that guy, a mummy? What about him says mummy to you? He must be out your ever-mumming mind. But one thing Frank does believe in is Helen's hotness, so he joins Muller for a visit to her hotel. On the ride over, while Frank cocks his hat and serves loots, Muller checks the charred bits from the fireplace. He realizes they've been tricked. Parchment doesn't burn at that temperature. It was just paper, so Imotep must have the scroll again. Damn, that thing's getting passed around like a hot potato. A Thoth potato. Muller gives Frank an amulet to wear in the shape of Isis to protect him from evil. Imotep's eyes get a glowing again, which was done by dimming the set's lights while focusing two baby spotlights into Karloff's eyes. Director Carl Freund had done the same trick with Dracula, where he was the cinematographer. The Mummy was Freund's first time directing, but he drove Dracula's production in a big way. He also shot freaking Metropolis and has been credited with inventing the dolly shot and being the first to use a handheld camera. Or rather, stomach held, since he would strap it to his belly. He'd go on to shoot I Love Lucy, where he invented the sitcom lighting style and perfected the 3-camera system. Wow. With his glowy eyes, Imotep takes control over Helen, who's trying to take control over a good boy. Oh, he does not want to go that way. Oh, sorry, buddy. Mommy's busy being a mummy's booty thrall. He charms her even more with his decor.
Ancient Egypt. Nothing modern.
She says, wait a minute, you ain't seen nothing yet. A cool shot takes a dive into a swirly, smoky looking thing, transitioning us into a flashback to the 18th dynasty in ancient Egypt. Back then, he was a high priest of the Temple of the Sun at Karnak, and she was the princess Ankhsenamu, daughter of the pharaoh Amenephis the Magnificent. Their forbidden love came to an end when she fell ill, and Imotep was unable to save her from dying. Stricken with grief, he snuck into her tomb after her burial and attempted to bring her back from the dead using the Scroll of Thoth. The guards broke in before he could finish the resurrection, but hey, it's the Thoth that counts. The pharaoh sentenced Imotep to death and ordered the scroll be buried with him so no one could ever try to raise the dead again. Fair enough. Oh, that flimsy prop looked real cheap. Imotep was wrapped up in bandages and left in a tomb to die a slow, agonizing death. To keep everything a secret, the slaves who buried him were killed by soldiers, who were then killed by other soldiers. I count 16 people in these scenes, so assuming the pharaoh took no half measures, that's how many I'm adding to the count. Back in the present, Imotep tells a zonked out Helen he's gonna kill Frank so they can be together. She wakes up in a daze sounding like Dorothy Gale.
I had strange dreams.
And you were there? And,
No,
I guess it was just you. Helen returns to her hotel where she tries to tell Frank what happened, but she can only remember bits and pieces, like that her dog Wolfram died, and that she saw a statue of the cat goddess Bast.
The goddess of evil sendings.
Well, no, Bast is
Not really.
actually
It's more
considered
protection,
to be the
not-
goddess of the home, fertility, and the protection of women. And cats. The Mummy movies aren't exactly the best place to learn accurate Egyptian mythology. Frank tells Helen that he loves her. Who cares that they only just met? She's into it, I guess, because she begs him to save her and not to let her leave the house again. But that night, she's tormented by visions of her supernatural side piece, leaves her feeling saucy and sexy. Just look at that bare shoulder. Ugh. Resisting Imotep's influence also leaves her weak and ill, so Frank takes off his Isis charm and puts it on her door. Good job, dumbass. You basically rolled out the murder welcome mat. Imotep tries to take advantage and give Frank a remote heart attack, but he grabs the charm just in time to avoid getting added to the count. Still gets knocked out cold though, allowing a tranced out Helen to walk over his prone body and straight out the door. Helen wakes up at the museum, but Imotep tells her she ain't Helen no more. She's Princess Anxinamu. And at first,
I was afraid.
she was mummified, thinking she would never live without him by her side. But now she's back, and majorly impressed by his grand romantic gesture.
No man has ever suffered for woman as you suffered for me.
John Balderson's script described Helen as a dark girl of Egyptian appearance, resembling the bust of Nefertiti in the Berlin Museum. Production didn't really follow that, and instead went with Zita Johann, a Hungarian-born actress from New York. Johann looked down on Hollywood compared to Broadway, and only did The Mummy to fulfill a contract with Universal. She didn't mind the paycheck it offered, though, and was actually pretty into the role. She had a real-life interest in the occult and believed in reincarnation. Johann seemed like a spitfire, headstrong and determined.
In 1932, that must have been a disaster.
In fact, she butted heads with director Freund, who forced his cast and crew to work well past the modern 12-hour limits that didn't exist back then.
At one point, he made her stand against a board for 2 days so she wouldn't get a crease in the skirt she was wearing for a particular scene.
He also apparently tried to get her to do a scene topless, so yeah, she wasn't a fan. She did love Boris Karloff, though, who I always forget was only 5'11". Above average height, but not the towering figure we think of him as. Imotep says Anxinamun's soul is currently stuck in a mortal body, kind of like her original body, which is in this coffin locked inside a case. Luckily, he has the keys.
There you go.
For whatever reason, he burns her old body, and damn, look at that thing go up. Originally, there was supposed to be a montage here showing how the two had been lovers throughout the ages. Ancient Rome, Viking times, Middle Ages, etc. They cut it to avoid slowing the movie down. Imotep leads her to the embalming room with an altar of Anubis, the jackal-headed Egyptian god.
The guide of the dead.
I love him telling her who Anubis is like she wouldn't know. She was a princess, dude. He tells her his plan to make her immortal. He'll kill her, mummify her, and resurrect her so she can be his forever bride. She starts to get cold feet.
No, I'm alive. I'm young. I won't die.
Dr. Moeller wakes up Frank and explains Imotep's plan, just in case the audience wasn't paying attention.
He's going to kill her and make her a living mummy like himself.
They arrive at the museum to see smoke coming from the chimney, but they haven't settled on a new pope just yet. Helen suddenly remembers her past life as a priestess, so she prays to Isis and begs for the goddess's help. The statue of Isis sets the scroll of Thoth on fire, breaking the spell of immortality that has been keeping Imotep alive. It reduces the mummy to a dusty pile of bones. And yeah, I'm counting this as another kill. Why shouldn't I? The movie ends with Frank once again scooping Helen into his arms. Wow, what a crazy night at the museum. Which poor soul's got the worst of the mummy's curse? Let's
go find out
and
get to the numbers.
To the numbers. We counted 22 deaths in the mummy, with the victims consisting of 21 men and only a single woman, Anxinamu, which is how they pronounce it in this movie. That gives us this pie chart, fated to curse anyone who dare eat it. Especially since it's one of a kind. That's right, we got a Killigami on our hands. Nice. With a runtime of 73 minutes, The Mummy had a kill on average every 3.32 minutes. I'll give the golden chainsaw for coolest kill to Imotep, the man, the myth, the mummy. The effects may not blow away modern audiences, but they did the trick for the time. Doll Machete for lamest kill goes to the guard of the museum. A lot of the kills in this movie happen off screen, but he doesn't even get a crazy laughing fit before he goes. And that's it. The Mummy came out during the Christmas season of 1932 and did great at the box office, solidifying Universal as a home for horror. It inspired a beloved remake in 1999, a much less beloved reboot in 2017, and an upcoming film from Evil Dead Rise director Lee Cronin. Can't wait for that one. I'm only gonna look at the 99 one for now, so until next week, I'm James A. Janice. This has been the Kill Count.
On the next Kill Count.
Prepare to embark on the adventure of a lifetime. Beneath the sands of Egypt, a great evil has been awakened.
It's just a book. No harm ever came from reading a book.
Now it's up to a small band of heroes to stop the end of the world.
Give me frogs, flies, locusts.
As you wish.
What have we done?
The Mummy is a remake of the 1932 classic, and a better film in pretty much every way. It's filled with horrifying chills and action-packed thrills. You can watch an exciting biplane and experience a bi-panic, starring Rick O'Connell, the dashing explorer.
I only gamble with my life, never my money.
Evelyn Conahan, the brains and the beauty.
I am a librarian.
The High Priest Imoteph, resurrected as the Walking Dead. And some guy named Benny. He's a bit of a slimeball, but we love him anyway.
Goodbye, Benny.
Ah, field goal.
This week, flock to the theater and witness the terror of The Mummy.
Oh, I've dreamt about this since I was a little girl.
You dream about dead guys?
Then this Friday, death is only the beginning. For the kill count, only on Dead Meat.
Rescue the damsel in distress, kill the bad guy, and save the world.
The Mummy. Concur?
Yeah, I've known that one, so I know what to expect. Yep, the Brendan Fraser Mummy, which ironically would clips this. So I think if anyone mentions the Mummy, I think the 1999 one is what they mention. Unless you put Universal Horror there, then it's 1932. To each their own, as they say, but what do you think? Which one do you think of? 32 or the 99? Let me know in the comments. Till next time, like, subscribe for more. See ya.